Let me get to this COVID misinformation campaign because I'm infuriated by it, and it continues by the left. And you have to ask yourself the question, is big tech in on this? Why is the left, the swamp, candidly, some on the right, and the big tech misinformation machine so invested in creating fear with you with COVID? Creating, continuing, feeding, and fertilizing a fear regime. Why? Why are they doing this? Well, when you think about it through a sober lens, it makes a whole bunch of sense. Big tech is dominated by liberals. Big tech is fully invested in big government and the liberals who run big government. Liberals who run big government all have the same thing they want with big tech, which is what? Bigger government. Now, folks, the only way to get bigger government is to scare people into believing that government is the answer to their problems. Why else would you support big government? Think about it, right? Why else would you forfeit your individual sovereignty? Because big individuals and big government can't exist at the same time. I can't say this enough. Freedom is a zero-sum game. Whether it's the freedom to spend your own money, the freedom to practice your religion, the freedom to assemble in public, the freedom to walk out in public, the freedom to worship, whatever it may be, you can't have big individual freedoms and big government at the same time. Either you have big freedom for individuals and small government, or you have big government and small individuals and small freedom. If you don't get that and you're a liberal out there, then that explains why you're a liberal, because you probably have a double-digit IQ. But you need to get it right quick because it's going to tie into my totalitarianism section coming up at the end. But it explains why all of these people are invested fully in a fear agenda, because they can't get you to forfeit your civil liberties without scaring you into doing it. What do I mean? Folks, I'm sure the communists at YouTube, I'm absolutely positive. Joe, do you have the Soviet national anthem? Do you have that ready to roll?
Dan, let me dig that out for you.
Can you cue that up for us, please? You know, we're talking about fake book and the communists at YouTube, so it's only appropriate for the Soviet national. All right. All right. Every time we talk about the communists, thank you, Joe, the communists at YouTube and the communists at fake book, we, of course, have to include this. But it relates to this story at the New York Post. So, the CDC, part of the government swamp these days, I'm sure there's some decent people over there, but unfortunately the leadership over there seems entirely politicized, appears to be grossly misleading the American public to exaggerate the transmission rate of the coronavirus outdoors. Here it is, New York Post, Case Sheehy. This story will be in my newsletter. Please read it today. Bongino.com/newsletters, how you get it. Headline, CDC grossly exaggerating outdoor transmission rate, COVID-19 experts say. Watch the word games they play here, the CDC, to make you believe. By the way, I'm sure this will be banned by the YouTube communists and fake book. I'm positive. I don't care at all. We're going to promote information while they promote misinformation because they're communists. I get it. But watch what they're doing here. They're saying to the public, the CDC, hey, listen, the outdoor transmission rate, you have a less than 10% chance of catching it outdoors. Less than 10% chance. That's kind of odd, folks. The New York Post says, and they're the people they interviewed who are actual experts on this, they say, quote, saying that there's a less than 10% chance of COVID transmission outdoors is akin to saying that sharks attack fewer than 20,000 swimmers a year. The actual number of shark attacks is around 150. It's true, but it's deceiving. The New York Times wrote, where they interviewed, this is the New York Times. The Post is covering what the New York Times said. At issue is the research cited by the CDC in touting its outdoor transmission statistic, which puts the actual figure at a murky and allegedly too high, less than 10%. You see what they're doing here? They're saying less than 10%, giving you the highest number possible based on this upper bound to scare you to think you have a basically 1 in 10 chance of catching coronavirus and outdoor transmission, to scare the hell out of you because they're invested in fear because they want a bigger government. Well, what's the problem with this, ladies and gentlemen? That's not the actual chance. Probably closer to 1% or less. Yeah, technically, that's true. That's less than 10. Well, what did they base this on? From the New York Post. The CDC based its outdoor transmission figure on research largely pulled from cases at a construction site in Singapore, the New York Times said. Yet, a representative with the country's Ministry of Health said, we didn't classify the transmission of such cases according to outdoors or indoors. It could have been workplace transmission where it happens outdoors at the site, or it could have happened indoors, the Singapore government spokesman told the Times. I thought we were doing science, folks. I thought we were doing science-y stuff. Science, you know, the left, facts matter. The fact checkers on the left, why are they not fact checking this? So the CDC is saying your chances are less than 10%. When in reality, it's probably close to 1% or less, and they're using the upper bound to scare you. They're basing it on a study out of Singapore, which says nothing of the sort. Which says, hey, we don't know if it happened indoors or outdoors at the construction site. And you wonder why faith in government, the FBI, the DOJ, and all of these once venerated institutions, not venerated by me, but venerated by others, these once venerated institutions now have the credibility of a three-card Monte player in Times Square, 1980s New York. Now, again, I know the communists at Facebook and the communists at YouTube will ban this stuff. Keep in mind, nothing I just said is false. Nothing I just said is false. That's the Singapore Ministry of Health talking about their own study that the CDC is basing their number on. You saw the quote yourself. Facebook will ban this, and so will YouTube, because they're communists and they're totally invested in fear so that you forfeit your big R God-given rights away to a government that doesn't know squat about your life. And it'll stomp out your freedoms, like put their thumb on them in a heartbeat.